Hello everybody, this is Ethan with WiseCrack Studios, and today I wanted to go over a nice little trick or two that's going to help you get your bass guitars to sit a little bit nicer in your mix for you. Now right now I've got a little bit of a headphone mix for a song that I'm working on. I've already done the couple of tricks here, so I just wanted you to listen to it as it is real quick. Pretty good for a headphone mix, if I do say so myself. So right now I've done a couple of things already that I've done in past videos. You'll see I've got the DI and I've got the amp. I've already gone through and made sure that they're in phase with each other, but there's two little things that I've added on in particular. So before I get to the little mixing trick, I want to talk about a little production trick that I did during the recording phase that already is making things a little bit different from normal. Normally, when recording for anything, I would typically use a clean amp sound, but for this song, I went ahead and used sort of a crunchy sort of amp. And that made it sound a little bit something like this. You can sort of hear that sort of crunch to it in the mid frequencies in particular. But what I ended up doing after that was I added on an EQ that sort of boosted the mid frequencies a little bit more, and I cut out some of that extra high end that really was just adding that little bit of extra room noise to everything. Now after that, I made sure within this EQ that I gave a nice gentle cut to everything below about 150, and then on the DI, I did sort of the same thing to everything that was above 200. Now, as you can see, things are a little bit wonky here. That's because I actually really liked this 500 range as well. So I went ahead and gave that a really big boost just so that it's not getting cut nearly as much as the rest of everything else. Now, the other thing that I've done was I set up a bus that is going to another track with the distortion going. Now, as you can see, I sort of played around with a couple of different ideas. These are the two that I sort of had the last A and B against. What I ended up going with was this Berserk distortion plugin that sort of makes it feel as though it's going through a guitar pedal. Now let's give this a listen real quick, and I need to note first that it's not going to sound pretty by itself. It's pretty heavily distorted in sound, and honestly, I like how it sounds. I would never use this as like by itself, but it's pretty good. If I bring the mix percentage down, you'll be able to hear closer to what I'm trying to look for in this, but before I do that, let me bring the volume back up so that you can actually hear what's happening. And so together, with all of that with the actual bass guitar going, that should sound a little something like this. And so as you could hear, it kind of pushes things forward a little bit. Now let's just give this context real quick, and I'll go ahead and take it out and put it back in just as I see fit. Now Now this is a little trick that I'm going to have to play with in this just to sort of figure out the right spots for it. I need to figure out more of this whole settings here because I can pull up or down the drive and get completely different sounds. But hopefully I've given you something that you can play with in the future. I know this EQ trick is something I like to do a lot. The distortion trick I like to do on heavier songs, but not so much on like lighter songs. So hopefully you can play around with it for yourself, figure out what you like and what you don't like. As for me, this has been Ethan with WiseCrack Studios, and I hope that you have a lovely day.